I know what you're thinking. Joe's gonna smoke another brisket. Not today. On today's video, I'm gonna be smoking up some beef jerky on my Yoder YS640 pellet smoker. Stay tuned. All right, so what we're starting with is a 9-pound beef eye of round. And this is a Superior Angus beef. I saved the package just so you guys can see that. I've never seen the Superior Angus beef tag before. So this has got to be a pretty good piece of beef. Now I did reach out to my buddy Rye at Cooking with Rye, and I asked him, hey, what piece of meat do I use for making some beef jerky? Because he is the beef jerky master. He's done it on an offset smoker, and he recently did a video on a pellet smoker. So I'm gonna leave a link up top to his channel right up here so you guys can see that and check out some of his beef jerky videos as well. So again, I've got a 9-pound beef eye of round, and it's got some fat on the outside, so I'm gonna trim it up. One thing I was doing is I was just tugging at this right now, and it kind of comes off really easy. I've never really seen this before, but this is a pretty lean piece of meat. So I'm just going to keep tugging and see what happens. But look at this. It comes off pretty easy. Now, I did get one of the recommendations from Rye as well, as far as to, wow, look at this. As far as to put the meat in the freezer for a little bit because it makes it easier to slice. I do have a meat slicer right here next to me on my left side, and I'm going to use that to make some nice, not too thin and not too thick slices, okay? So I've got some silver skin that I've got to remove, and this side has a good hunk of fat. So the trick of putting it in the freezer for a little bit that Rye mentioned in one of his videos, I do that with my briskets. I actually put them in the freezer for about 30 minutes before I get to trimming them, because I think it's a lot easier to trim a brisket when it's cold, okay? So if you saw what I did there, I just pinch right through the silver skin here. Just try to stay right below it here, and then cut across but straight, and then lift up one side. Hold your knife flat like that. That way you don't gouge a whole lot of meat. Here's some more. So this is going to be a process because there is a lot of silver skin throughout this entire beef eye of round, as you can see here. Okay. It's not too bad actually to trim. It's the silver skin comes off pretty easy. So if you notice, I cut a flap. Okay. So I cut a flap, stay above, right above that meat, right below the silver skin. Lift it, and then put your knife down, and then keep slicing, but try to stay right below that silver skin. You can almost see your knife. Okay, there you go. Here's a little bit more. I enjoy trimming meats. This is really lean. Look at that. Beautiful piece of meat. So got some fat on this side. Just gonna trim some of this off. And again, it's okay, you're just losing a little bit of meat. It's not gonna hurt anything. So the meat is not frozen, but it's really, really cold, and that's what you want. I think it makes the trimming process a little bit easier. You know, I travel a lot for work, and you know, you stop by the store and get some road snacks, if you will. And you know, I really like beef jerky, and I used to buy the beef jerky, the store-bought beef jerky, but that stuff doesn't taste really good. You know, there's a lot of preservatives in that, and I just don't like it. I mean, I used to like it, but it almost tastes like fake meat. I don't know about you guys. Leave a comment on if you think that store-bought beef jerky is just not good. I don't like it. I prefer to buy my beef jerky from a store that specializes in beef jerky. They're kind of popping around the country. I mean, I'm in Texas, and they're pretty big in Texas and parts of New Mexico as well, you see these stores that sell nothing but beef jerky, and it's pretty good. So here's the that fat cap, if you will. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit because I don't want to dig into the meat too much. There we go. Not too bad. Now you don't want a whole lot of fat on your beef jerky. Okay, especially if you're gonna try to preserve it a little bit, because I think this will cause it to spoil. So this feels like a pretty big fat cap. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit and try to stay right below the fat there. So there, got a little bit of meat, not too bad. And then just a small trim here. And I want to show you guys this process, just, you know, in the event that you want to make some beef jerky yourself, that you know what to expect when you're trimming this. I don't like to edit my trimming process out of my videos because, you know, a lot of you guys will have questions. Man, I wonder how he trimmed this, or I wonder how you trim this, period. So I like to show people how I do the trimming process anyway. Get some of the silver skin off. That probably is not going to hurt anything, but again, this is a really nice piece of meat here. So I got some meat here, then I got some fat. So I'm just going to, again, try to stay under that fat right there. So I've probably taken off maybe 1.5 pounds of fat, and there's a little bit of meat, but that's okay. You got a real sharp knife. This is a Hammerstall fillet knife. Super sharp. I keep it sharp. You always want to trim with a good sharp knife and a cold piece of meat. I think it makes it easier to trim. All right, we're almost done here. A little bit more, just a little, just some small pieces of fat here. Okay, take this off. A little bit here. And again, beef jerky doesn't have to have a shape. I think the different pieces are good because you'll have some thick pieces and some thin pieces. And I think that's how beef jerky should be. Like a puzzle, if you will. Different shapes and sizes. A little bit more fat. There we go. That looks good to me. I'm going to take this. Looks like it's a piece of oxidized meat here. Just take that off as well. Briskets will have that on the edges too. So there we go, guys. A little bit more silver skin here. Okay. I like this. A little bit more fat here. Didn't see that. All right. I'm going to clear out my counter, fire up or connect my slicer, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my meat slicer all set up. Now this is a Cabela's commercial grade meat slicer, and it has a knob on this side right in front of me that lowers this deck where your meat is going to sit, okay? And you can see it kind of going up and down here if you move the knob. The higher the number, the thicker the piece of meat. So just in looking at this, if it's at 0, it's flush. 1 is real thin. It's almost like 1/8 of an inch. 2 is a little thin. I don't know. I think I'm liking 3. Okay. So I did cut the beef into thirds just to make it a little bit easier to handle. Okay. So I've got it here. I'm just going to push down on this. Just a little bit, not too much. And then I'm just going to turn on the meat slicer and cut a test slice, if you will, and see if that's thick enough for me. So here we go. Okay, so this is what we've got right here. And I actually like that. Okay, it's not too thin, not too thick. And if the pieces are too big, I'll slice them in half, but I actually like this size right here. It's kind of thick, little, not too thin, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and slice this up. I'll come back and show you what the slices look like. Stay tuned. All right, so I wanted to bring you guys back real quick and show you that the grains of this beef eye of round, they run the length of the piece of meat, okay? So I don't wanna slice them this way. I wanna cut against the grain, not with the grain, because I think that you'll end up with a tough piece of jerky. So I'm slicing them, I'm putting it on my meat slicer this way, so it cuts against the grain, okay? And again, let me show you just another little piece that I cut. I think this is a good size. Probably, it's not really an eighth and it's not really a quarter of an inch, so it's right there in between. This is what I've got. So I'm gonna continue slicing, and as soon as I got it all sliced up, I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my meat sliced up and I've got several different piles here, and I wanna show you the reason why. So these pieces here are pieces that I don't think need to be cut because I think they're just the perfect jerky size and trimming. And I also have a small pile of, these are just little scraps, okay, that I'm not gonna turn into jerky, but I can do something with this later. So I'm gonna save that. And this pile, I had the pile of meat here, and I just sliced right down the middle. And the reason I did that is because I felt they were too big for beef jerky. So now I've got these smaller pieces here, if I can grab one, just like this, okay? So that's the reason why I sliced this in half. And I've got another pile here that I'm gonna do the exact same thing, just slice it right down the middle, and I pile them up, okay? So that's sliced, and I'm gonna slice this one in half as well. Again, just so that you don't have a big piece of beef jerky, okay? That's the only reason I sliced them like that. All right, so the next step, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna marinate these, and these are gonna marinate for 24 hours before I even put them in my smoker. So I'm doing this the day before. So I'm just gonna grab a pile of this meat here, put it in a baggie, 2 piles actually, just like that. Okay, so I'm gonna make 3 baggies, maybe even 4 baggies, because this is a lot. I didn't think it was gonna be a lot, but this is a lot of beef jerky here. So, okay, there's a little bit there. Actually, I'm gonna throw some of these little pieces in here too. And I'm gonna take, actually no, that's good. I'm just gonna put some of these pieces in this bag as well. Okay, a little bit more in this one. Okay. Yeah, 3 different batches is what I wanna make. Okay. There we go. And then these pieces here. All right. So Rye, I was texting Rye, and he said that he loves the teriyaki beef jerky. So I've got this Sweet Baby Ray's. This is a teriyaki, sweet teriyaki wing sauce and glaze, but I'm gonna use it as a marinade. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some of this in there. Just like that, put enough of it, okay? This one is also gonna get some of that same marinade. In fact, they're all gonna get it, but I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do different to each one, to each bag, okay? Give some in here, just like that. And this tastes good right out of the bottle, okay? So this batch right here, I'm gonna try to take a lot of the air out. That one is just gonna have the teriyaki glaze by itself, and I'll mix this up here in a little bit, okay? Separate the pieces of beef in there so they all get nice and marinated. So on this one here, I've got some fresh cracked pepper. Now this was I think a half cut pepper, and I just put it in my grinder. I'm gonna put a little bit of pepper in here with this glaze. Again, it's a lot of meat, so I think that's good. Don't want to overdo it. Okay. So this one is just the teriyaki with pepper. Again, try to take out a lot of the air out of the bag. And this one is going to be some teriyaki glaze with some red pepper flakes. Maybe a little bit of spice, right? Or a lot of spice. Depending on how you like it. Okay. Try to get all the air out. Okay. And you want to mix this up really good. Okay, get some of that glaze. Again, this is a glaze, but I'm using it as a marinade, and it tastes really good. So I know this beef jerky is going to be pretty darn good. Okay, here's the one with the pepper. You can see the pepper inside the bag there. Just mix it all in there. Make sure every piece of meat gets some of the marinade, get some of that pepper. There you go. Just like that. Okay, that's what we got right there. So this is gonna have a good peppery taste because of the pepper, the amount of pepper that I put in there. And I'll shake these a little bit more off camera. You guys know what to do there. And then this is the one with the red pepper flake here. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Mix it all in there, get that pepper flake. Get that teriyaki glaze all over this. Then I'm going to see which one I like, you know. Is the teriyaki by itself going to be good? I know this one with the red pepper flakes going to be good. In fact, they're all going to be really good. Because I tasted the sweet teriyaki sauce out of the bottle, and it's got a really good flavor. But I was like, I think a little bit of spice, a little bit more pepper would be good. So these are going to go in my fridge for 24 hours. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I put these in the smoker. Stay tuned. All right, so it's been 24 hours since we put the jerky to marinate. And this is the beef jerky with just the teriyaki sauce. This is the teriyaki with black pepper. And I added a little bit more black pepper before I put these in the fridge because I didn't think it was enough black pepper. And then I also put a little bit more red pepper flake on the teriyaki pepper flake beef jerky because I didn't feel that there was enough once I mixed it all up. So let's take a look at this. It's going to be messy. Okay, so the color of the jerky actually got a little bit darker. It smells good, actually. And all I'm going to do is just place them evenly on these cooling racks. So I'm going to have different shapes, different sizes. You want to make sure you don't have two pieces of jerky that are on top of each other. Give them a little bit of space as well. That way the smoke is able to get around the entire piece of jerky. So yeah, here's a couple pieces here. Okay, so again, this is the beef jerky with just the teriyaki, and I might have to make a couple of batches because I've only got 3 of these cooling racks that I'm gonna use today. Now I know that Yoder makes a shelf system, so if I like the way this beef jerky turns out, which I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with it, I think I'm gonna invest in those racks. There's the peppered one. Okay, you can see that there's pepper definitely present in that beef jerky there. And this has a really good smell as well. So just take out a couple pieces of this so you guys can see this. Man, this smells good. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell that there is some pepper present, you know, compared to this one that just looks plain with the teriyaki sauce. So let's take a look at our third batch, which is our teriyaki and red pepper flake. I have a feeling this one's going to be my favorite because this is not going to be, I don't think it's going to be hot, but I like a little bit of spice. Okay. And if some of the beef jerky folds over within each other, just make sure you open it up. That way it cooks evenly. So you can see the red pepper flakes in there that are present in the jerky. Now, as far as the moisture content, you know, there is a lot of moisture because of the teriyaki sauce that I'm using as a marinade. And there's nothing wrong with doing this, but just know that It might take a little bit longer for that surface to dry. But this is also going to be a little bit kind of tacky jerky, if you will. We'll see. I mean, I'm just going based off of what the teriyaki sauce consistency looks like. But you can see the red pepper flakes there. So let me spread these out on these racks. I've got my Yoder YS640 pellet smoker set at 165. Now, I've never, ever used my smoker at 165 before. And the smell of the smoke is totally different than anything that I've ever done before, because I think there's a heavier smoke presence, and that's what you want. That's why you want to cook at that 160, 165. The Yoder YS640 pellet smoker, you can set it as low as 150, but I think that's going to prolong the cook. I think 165 is going to be that magic number. So let me spread this jerky out evenly, and before I put them in the smoker, I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my beef jerky on the Yoder YS640 pellet smoker, and again, my temperature is set at 165. You can see a lot more smoke than normal. That's what you're going to get at these lower temperatures, okay, 165. So I've got my plain teriyaki jerky up top. I've got my red pepper flake teriyaki jerky down here, and the teriyaki and black pepper over here. Now, the reason I did it this way is I don't want the flavors of the pepper or the red pepper flake to fall on my plain teriyaki jerky, and vice versa. I really don't want the flavors to blend, if you will. So I'm gonna give this, let me close the lid. Gonna give it about maybe an hour and a half, and I will probably only rotate the red pepper flake and the black pepper, the two on the bottom, just rotate them from left to right. So we'll see you guys in about an hour and a half. Stay tuned. All right, so we're 1.5 hours into the cook. Let's take a look at this jerky. Oh yes. So it looks like some of these closer to the edge of the smoker and even in the back is getting a little toasty. Okay, so I'm going to try something different here. I'm just going to rotate these. Oh, these look good. So I'm going to have these, change the direction of these. Those are the teriyaki and pepper, and these are the teriyaki and red chili flake. You can see the red chili flakes in there. So again, the ones that were in the front got a little bit toasty. That's okay. Those will still be edible. Okay. So I'm just gonna, actually I'm gonna rotate these like this. Try to stay away from that front edge, but that's you know, something I'll do different next time, you know, to keep them off of this front edge, because the heat does come from the bottom on the edges all the way around. So this top rack looks pretty good. These the ones in the back are a little bit drier, if you will. You can see here. So these are nowhere near being done, but that's what we look like. It's almost transparent. You can almost see right through, but it's got a nice dark red color. Okay, so we're gonna give this another hour and a half, and we'll come back and check on them. I can tell you that the surface is drying nicely. Okay, there's still a couple that are, the surface is wet, but the jerky has shrunk down only an hour and a half into it, and the surface is pretty dry. So far so good. Stay tuned. All right, I wanted to bring you guys back real quick, just for a quick second, and to let you know that I did turn the temperature down to 160. You know, I didn't like that the front edge of that one tray was a little bit darker. I'm not sure if that's going to help, but I think 160 might help a little bit more, help keep the beef jerky from overcooking, if you will. So I'm going to try 160 at this point. I actually ate that little piece that was little cooked on the front edge, and it was the teriyaki and the red pepper flakes, and it was really good. Nothing wrong with it, but I just don't want to get the jerky that dark color, so I turned it down to 160. Again, we'll see you guys in about an hour and a half. Stay tuned. All right, so 3.5 hours into the cook now, and what I did is I rotated the pepper ones that were on the far bottom right, and I moved them to the top, and the teriyaki ones, I put them on the bottom. The surface is dry enough now that I don't have to worry about any sauce or anything dripping onto the other pieces of jerky. So I'm okay with moving them around now. The surface is nice and dry, and I'll show you here. Just grab one of these. Get a little bit stuck, but that's what we look like now. As far as it, man, it's almost ready. Pretty crazy. So I think that when Rye cooked his beef jerky, his was a little bit thicker, I want to say. I think I sliced mine a little thinner than Rye, and that's why I'm getting that that breakage already. So these are almost ready. The surface is, you know, pretty dry already. In fact, I want to call this ready. Yeah, maybe another 30 minutes for these anyway. It seems like the smoker was definitely hotter on the bottom right hand side. That's why these are almost ready. The this is the teriyaki only. Okay, and these, I can tell you, they still need more. Okay, you can see it right there. It's still not cracking. So these teriyaki ones need a little bit more. And let's look at this one. This is the teriyaki with pepper. This one's breaking as well. So I'm gonna give them another maybe 20 minutes and I'll pull them off. So stay tuned. All right, so our beef jerky is ready and the total cook time was 4 hours and 15 minutes. And again, I lowered the temperature to 160. On that first hour and a half at 165, I felt was a little too hot, and 160 actually worked perfect, okay? And I didn't want the jerky crispy or anything like that. I wanted it to be a little bit flexible, but still break when you had to bend it. So 4 hours and 15 minutes, again, a lot faster than I initially thought. So here we have it. I'm gonna give this a shot. This is our teriyaki jerky. Again, it's pretty translucent, just like jerky is at the store, but here we go. How it bakes. It's got a really good flavor. Got some sesame seeds in there too. That's good. I'm gonna try the one with the pepper. This little piece right here. Pepper and teriyaki. Oh man. See how it bakes? My favorite so far. Still have that teriyaki flavor, but that pepper really kicks it up a notch. This one, for some reason, tastes sweeter as well. Oh, that pepper. It's kicking me back of the throat there. So this one's not as sweet, I'm thinking, because the pepper kind of offsets that sweetness, okay? But really, really good. Ooh, that pepper's getting me. And then here is our teriyaki with chili, red chili pepper flakes. I think this one's gonna be my favorite. In fact, I'm gonna get one with more chili, like this one. Here we go. Yeah. That that red chili flake, the pepper, man, there it is. It's not hot at first, but then it gets you. But it's not like super duper hot. Has the right amount of heatness, or heat level for me anyway. You know what? I'm thinking that the pepper and the red chili flakes together, I think would go very well. They're all really tasty. I recommend that you make this. This is only about half of what I'm smoking. I've got another batch in my smoker because, again, I just didn't have enough room, but it's a lot of jerky. Quit buying your jerky from the store. Make it yourself. This teriyaki and the additional ingredients, the pepper and the red chili flakes, definitely kicked it up a notch. Give it a shot. Hope you guys like this video. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.